not good. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Hope you liked the previous videos. If you have not watched the previous videos, please go check them out. Today we're putting a spool jet on the truck. We are doing that mainly because of dirt drags, how they have us hot lapping, they have homemade trees, and they do not know how to pull you in and get you staged properly. So I'm gonna put that on. Hopefully it works good. It's not gonna be as hard on the truck. It's gonna be a Zex kit that I put together. It's actually gonna be the same solenoid as the one that's on there now with the main kit. So that should be here in a minute. Once that comes in, we'll put that on. And then we have a dirt drag at Montgomery County Fair. It's been a few years since I've been there. So I don't really remember how the track is. I do know it's short. Don't remember how their tree setup is. So we'll try it out there, see how it is, and go from there. But hopefully we have good competition there, and hopefully we come out with a win or at least place, or make it farther than first round at least. So let's get that kit on, and let's see how this spool jet works. Let's get to it. So guys, most of the stuff from my spooling kit showed up. Got the solenoid. I'm still waiting on the fittings. This is the -3 line that's going to come out of the outlet into the cold side pipe close to the Y bridge. This is the Y fitting, so the -4 line is going to come in. This is going to branch off to each solenoid, my actual full kit, and then the spool solenoid. Here is my actual switch for the solenoid. I would like to mount it on my lockup box. That would be awesome, since I'm holding that every time I race, period. So that would make it a lot more comfortable. I mean, on the steering wheel would be cool as well. I did get a steering wheel bracket just in case, but first things first, I'm gonna try and get the switch mounted in the lockup box. That would be awesome. I may also be able to mount this to the box as well. Guys, here's my fleece lockup box. I hold this racing every time. Hit bypass. That puts it in full manual mode. You now control the lockup. The TCM no longer controls it. It's all on you. Always turn it on in the staging lanes, or I'm turning on to the actual track. Once I leave, I typically hit lockup. Usually at the top of second gear, I hit it. With the fleece lockup box, though, you got to manually unlock it, or you're not stopping. So I'm gonna try and mount that into this, hopefully. So let me take these screws off and see what is in here. So guys, this should actually work out pretty good. It's hard to see in there, but there is enough room in there for me to get this switch, drill a hole, put the nut on it. There it is. It turned out sweet. I still got to button up, probably zip tie the wires together, and I got to put the screws back in the lockup box. But this is going to be lovely, especially being that this thing is already in my hand racing anyway. Just reach down here, give it a little shot if it needs to happen. If not, it's there on standby regardless. It's in my hand. I don't gotta reach across the dash or anywhere. It's right where it needs to be. Perfect. Now I definitely gotta clean the truck out. I'm probably gonna put the other arming switch there, right next to the old one. That way I could just reach down. But I'm very pleased with how this turned out. This is awesome, guys. So I got the go button mounted. Now, while we wait on the switch, nozzle, and the solenoid brackets, I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna mount this. I think I'm gonna back the feed line up a little bit, tuck this behind the hot side pipe. That way this isn't an eyesore, and then run it back over there. Probably keep that solenoid where it's at, and mount the other one maybe on this side of it or that side. Just gonna have to figure out how I can put this in here to make it look clean. Obviously I'm gonna take this sticker off, but first things first, I'm gonna undo the main feed line and probably bring it back to over here and start from there. I also gotta bring the harness up there and make it look clean as well. When I had the engine out, I had that all nice and redone up there while I had it out. So I want to keep it looking that clean. So guys, I'm gonna cut every zip tie that is running the feed over to the solenoid That's the main feed. I'm gonna bring it back over here and probably put the Y right there. This harness right here is actually running to that solenoid over there. I can't use these wires because they go to the actual wide open throttle switch. I'm gonna be adding a relay for this actual spool jet, so there's gonna be a completely different kit. So we'll undo all that and then we'll go from there. So guys, I took the line off and it just doesn't look right with the Y being way over there. I think this is gonna be the best way. Put the other solenoid right there covering the Y. It'll just clean it up a lot better. I don't want a Y being exposed, especially down there. It just did not look right, especially being how spread apart these are. It was just a disaster. So I'm gonna tuck it up under there. I'm gonna mount the solenoid. When the bracket comes, I'm gonna mount the solenoid right here. I got my wire here. I'm gonna cut just enough to get over to this side. Have to find a good spot to mount the relay. I'm thinking probably like right here. So I'm gonna mount the spool jet solenoid here. The old one is gonna go back here. I think that will work perfect. So I gotta tuck these wires into this loom and put it back up on the firewall. I'll run the feed line back over here. Once this bracket comes in, I'll mount that right there. So we got the spool solenoid wired up. Got it all tucked up in here again. I mounted the relay here. So the green goes to the solenoid. Wire from the solenoid gets grounded. So since I have power running right here, pull it out of this loom. I'm gonna tap the black into that. I don't know why their relays have the wiring different, but it is what it is. So tap that in that. White's gonna go to ground, and then red is gonna go to the switch. So next, I fed through the firewall into the cab. That is going to go to the red on the relay, which is actually going to be the power to open up that solenoid, run it through the cab. I already had a hole drilled for the lockup box, so I ran it through that same hole. One wire, like I said, goes to the relay on the firewall. The other one is going to go to the arming switch I'm going to put over here. So here's the actual arming switch. This will actually feed power to that switch, which will control the nitrous to open up the solenoid. So I gotta run this wire, which runs to that switch. That will go on one of the terminals, and then I gotta run a power or feed from the ignition source key on the run of this, which will give it actual power when the key is turned on. Once that is in, we should have juice to the solenoid, and we'll test that out. So I'm gonna mount this right next to that one. So before actually mounting the hole, click at the on, make sure we got some power here. Turn the key on, and let's see if we got something. Oh yeah, good to go. Now let's clean it all up in here. Very clean. Got my kicker plate back up. It is in the center console. When I'm ready, I just pull it out. And it's very convenient, as this is already in my right hand anyway when I'm racing. So I just will hold that in when I'm ready to spool up and go from there. When I'm done racing, I'll put it right back in the center console. Very convenient how it is. So I'm glad I didn't have to put on the steering wheel or anything. So the bracket, and there is the box. And the little bolts are missing, so I'm gonna have to run to the hardware store and find some bolts. I'll rob the one off of that solenoid, take it with me, see what I can find. Damn you, Amazon. Relay is tucked up in there, all wire loomed up. I still gotta clean up this up here. I'll do that after I actually get the other solenoid mounted up. So let me run to the hardware store, get some bolts, and let's mount that solenoid. Got what we need now. Let's get this one mounted up, pull the intake, pull the cold side pipe, and drill and tap for the new nozzle. Solenoid is mounted. I put the spool solenoid here. This is going to be the main actual kit here, wide open throttle solenoid. Just got to clean up how I have the lines ran. The Y is going to be right here behind this solenoid. Got it plumbed up, guys. I got it mounted right there on that stud. Makes it look pretty clean. It's secured. Everything is tight. I gotta get a new fitting for the main kit though. I don't like how it goes into this fitting and then into that. I'll just get the same fitting I got on this kit here. Pulled the intake off. See that nice work charger. I got to pull this off, 11, and then I got 11 down there. I can come through right here. There is a hole. Get the bottom clamp off, and then I can pull that whole thing out. All right, guys, got the cold side off. Got my tap. Got my nozzle. Nozzle's going to go about right here, and just going to drill it out, tap it, and we'll get it back on the truck. So, guys, I screwed up. I drilled the hole too big. Luckily, I had this other adapter to put the nozzle in. Took some fishing line to it since I couldn't reach in there. I'm tied to the end to pull it through. So I just got to put the nut on, tighten it up, put the nozzle in. Get this back on the truck and put the intake back on and see what we got. All right, so it's on. I put the 54 jet back in the main nozzle. I'm probably going to put like a 32 to start off with. Let me see what we got in the bag here. See what we got going on over here. $32 right there, first jet. Check that out. So put that one in there. Guys, got it routed up, got it cleaned up. It's all zip tied up, all nice and looks pretty clean. I just had to wrap that up a little bit, that way it was all even here. Everything is completely tied up and done. Looks pretty clean to me. I do have a new thermostat housing getting powder coated, and then the actual pipe itself will be polished. It should match the turbo housing. Coolant reservoir and the valve cover is pretty sweet. All right, guys, so this spool up we're just going to do on fuel. No nitrous whatsoever. I want to show you guys the difference. So put in tow haul, get in the second. Alright, so that's 3,500 RPMs. Pretty quick. Truck isn't hot, so obviously it's going to come up quicker. Strictly just doing the spool jet for dirt drags when we're hot lapping. Converter gets some heat in it. Just makes it a lot easier. So let's do it with nitrous now. So I got my lockup switch out. Turn the nitrous on down here. And let's see what we got. It is in first. Let's click it in the second. And let's see what we got. Give it some fuel. And then instantly, guys, instantly. That is awesome. All right, guys, kit is on as you've seen. Now we're going to make it about an hour and a half to Montgomery County Fair and try and test out the spool jet. I think it's going to work very well.
If Dante can hold strong, Elkton, Maryland, Dante Delaney versus Southern Maryland, Rosie Blade.
is the night after, guys. Let's check out and see if the upper rad hose is hard. See if we have any signs of a blown head gasket. Coolant tank, you see everything was puking out of it. It is not hard, so we should be good to go. That place was an absolute joke last night. This thing was boiling so bad I probably could have put a pot of soup up there and cooked it. It was terrible. Guys, the truck made it back home. Let's just start off with saying that it was the worst event I've ever been into in my entire life. I walked out with a whopping $100 bill for second place. That is just going to all fluids in the truck, coolant, oil, transmission fluid. The only reason I even got second is because I refused to run again. My truck in the finals was at, coolant temp was at 255, camp on the dash, engine overheated, idle engine, and trans temp when I seen it after I shut it off was at 255, so it was even higher than that, I'm assuming. And the track, the event, everything about it was insane. First things first, when we got there, we had to take a breathalyzer test. I've never experienced that in my life. The tree was terrible. There was no pre-stage, or there was a pre-stage and stage, but it did not work. They pulled you in individually. Left lane got pulled in first, right lane got pulled in second. So whoever's in the first lane, which I was majority of the night, is up on the converter. Then they refused to give us cool down time. And guys, our trucks need cool down time. So after each round, I was asking, I was begging, I was like, please, our trucks need cool down time. They refused every single time. Even one guy had the nerve to say real street trucks do not need cool down time. So let's back up a little bit. Let's go on the first round. Pulling up, and like I always do, I turn on my lockup box, hit the bypass switch, and the light isn't turned on. So I'm like, hopefully I didn't mess something up when I took this apart to put the spool button in there. So run this round without lockup. Luckily, won the first round. But before second round, I hurry up and pop my hood and see what was going on with my lockup box. The ground came off the battery terminal. I guess when I put the nitrous relay in there, I zip tied the wires up too tight. So it came undone. I had no wire cutters on me. I had no tools. Luckily, someone had a razor blade. I was able just to cut open the wire and wrap around the battery, and that actually worked for the rest of the night. And third round, I had my good buddy Justin Duffy and his badass 590 truck. I came out with a win somehow. That's only because his wasn't turned up. And then on to the finals, where I came up against Roman Blades. I let him have left lane. Because he's on a stock Charger, drop-in turbo, whatever. So it comes up quick on the Charger. My truck was already hot. Both our trucks were hot as hell. And of course, I run a Nitrous. So it took me a little long to come up on the Charger. I feel bad. But I'm very impressed that the truck actually came up on the Charger, being how hot it was. It took a little longer, but it came up. And all of my years of racing, I've never seen someone call a red light by their eye. And everyone knows on a pro tree, you leave on yellow. Well, we left on yellow like I was all night. Actually, I think Roman may have left a little earlier than me, and they called me back for a red light. Well, that's where I draw the line, because my truck was already hot as hell, and they want us to run again. And then again, because Roman didn't lose at all night, so it's double elimination. Whoever loses twice is out. Wasn't having it. Truck wasn't having it. It's not worth it to me. So I gave up first, settled for second. I don't care about the money. I've never cared about the money. I've always been in this for fun. Yeah, that whopping $100 I got, that's going straight into the truck for fresh fluids. But when you treat us the way that Montgomery County Fair did, with a terrible tree, and then refuses to give us cool down time, that's just very disrespectful for the time and money we put in our trucks to make it to your event, plus the travel time to get to your event. It's mind-boggling that you could treat us racers and competitors that way, and expect us to come back. I already know there's a couple people on Facebook complaining about it. I hope Montgomery County Fair has seen that. I hope the people that run the event seen that. I will never be back. You've ruined it for me. You've ruined it for many racers. You pretty much burnt my truck down in the process because of how ignorant you guys were. We're gonna put fresh fluids in this truck. Hopefully everything's fine. It drove home fine, and be back at it next weekend. So let's put the fresh fluids in it and see what we got. Let's see how bad this is, guys. Oh, not good. See how that thing got hot, guys? That's the line that goes to the cooler. You see that thing has had some heat in it. Last night, this trans got up to 250, 260 degrees. Whew. This thing was hot. It drove all the way home with no issues, shifted fine. Converter felt fine, so I'm gonna put new fluid in it and go from there. Take the plate off and see if the converter looks burnt up. That looks still good, so no worries about that. Over to the spin one. I'm sure this magnet's got all kinds of stuff on it. Oh, that's nasty. And it stinks. Nasty. See how the magnet looks. Magnet isn't too bad. There ain't much stuff on. There's a little bit of debris, but nothing terrible. Well, guys, got fresh fluid in the truck, started it up, and we have a terrible transmission leak. It's coming from that line that's discolored. That heat must have destroyed that line. I don't even know how we got home last night. It's very confusing that I put fresh fluid in it and back it up and it starts leaking. Luckily, we made it home. I called up Fleece. They're going to send us a brand new one. I'll have it tomorrow. And then we'll make it out to dirt drags in Queen Anne's County. And I'll get some footage of that event. Hopefully have another video up for you guys. But if you haven't checked out the previous videos, please check them out. Like, comment, subscribe. The spool jet works phenomenal, guys. I highly recommend it, especially when dirt drags, a hot lap, and these terrible trees. I'm glad I did it. I probably would have never even made it a few rounds last night without it. So I'm gonna get the bottle filled up, head to Queen Anne's County, do it all over again, and hopefully that's a better event than Montgomery County. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more videos.